Fortnite just announced the brand new next weapon that is coming out in this week's update. The monster is also going around the map with Polar Peak, and on top of that, there's been some bugs with skins that are being looked into and more. Welcome back to another Fortnite video, guys, and in this one, as you can already tell, we have a ton of awesome update type stuff to go over. This week's update is just around the corner, and we're going to be talking about all of the info and stuff that's going to be with some of the things that are going to be in that update, as well as some other update news that doesn't have to do with that update, but is pretty interesting overall. So yeah, guys, but as always, be sure to hit that like button down below if you are hyped for today's update, and also comment what skin you guys are using right now. But without further ado here, let's jump on into it with the first piece of update news I want to talk about in this video. And that is basically the timing for the next update, because I think this could have to do with when Horde Rush could be coming into the game. I'm not exactly sure, but I have a feeling it could be in this week's update. And if you don't know what Horde Rush is, or like the challenges or the rewards you can unlock within that special LTM. But yeah, guys, I do have a feeling that that is going to be coming in this update, this content update, because we've already seen quite a bit about it. So I have a feeling it'll come out very, very soon. But speaking of which, when is the update likely going to come out? I would predict Wednesday, because this appears to just be a content update and not an actual patch. However, it still may be 9.21. We're not exactly sure quite yet, but it seems to be a content update, which, as you guys know, aren't really patches. It's a little bit confusing, but it's just a simple update. And with that being said, it's probably going to be live around 4 a.m. I would guess Wednesday. And then this Wednesday obviously is June 12th. Now after that, guys, let's jump into it with the weapon that is going to be in this new update. And it's a crazy one. We got to talk about like how it's going to work, the stats of it and stuff like that, so you guys are fully prepared. And even if this item is already in the game, seeing these stats will help you get a better understanding of how it works. So basically, if we take a look at the item that is coming, it is called the Proximity Grenade Launcher, and as you can see here on screen, this is the official announcement for it, and it looks very, very interesting. It's obviously an explosive weapon, which is always interesting to see. You know, that type of weapon is always pretty powerful in Battle Royale. I mean, you've got like the rocket launcher, the boom bow, stuff like that is always pretty powerful. So having a new one of them is definitely, you know, a pretty big change to the game, something to take note of for sure. And then for the description of it, which doesn't give us much info, but luckily for us, we have like the stats and stuff. But it says it's not a horseshoe or a hand grenade, but close still counts, which I'm honestly a bit confused about what that is referring to. I mean, I have a slight idea based on other stuff, but that description, I mean, it confuses me. Comment down below if you know what that means. I feel like it's kind of a movie reference too, but I can't remember what that would be from. But yeah, guys, let's jump into it with like the stats and stuff. And credit to the stats goes to Storm Shield 1, so thanks to them for putting up the stats. And actually, before we get into those, I wanted to talk about like how this item is going to be different from other items, and that's basically that it seems to be based off of an XM25, which if you've played like Call of Duty in the past and things like that, I think it was in Modern Warfare 3, they had that type of weapon, and basically what makes it unique is that you can set a distance for the projectile to explode at. So say you want it to blow up behind a tree, you can set it for a distance like right behind that tree and then fire it, and then the projectile would explode behind that tree, you know, where you set it. So that could make for some very interesting stuff. Like if somebody's in their 1x1 and you set the distance to be right above that 1x1, that could be pretty powerful. So I'm interested to see if that is exactly how it works. And you know, judging from the name of it, how it says proximity, it could be something like that, or maybe it just simply blows up when it gets near a player. That could also be pretty powerful, but I'm assuming it's got to be something similar to that, which is going to be pretty crazy. But after that, then let's talk about the stats, or like the damage and stuff like that, and also the rarity that this can come in, because as for the rarity, it's pretty expected, but it comes in epic and the legendary, or in other words, purple and orange or gold, whatever you want to call it. Pretty expected there again. But then for the damage, I believe that the damage for the epic rarity variant is 67, and then for the legendary 70, which isn't a whole lot, because I mean, like, take a look at how the boom bow I think is like a minimum of 100, so this being under 100 isn't a one-hit elimination on players that don't have shield. But then after that, you also have what I believe to be the fire rate, which is 0.65, which isn't that high. I believe the higher the number, the higher the fire rate. Correct me if I'm wrong. wrong there. But with 0.65, that doesn't seem very high compared to other items in the game. So again, doesn't seem that powerful overall, especially when you take into account that the magazine size is 2. So again, you're going to have to reload after every 2 shots, which is interesting. Basically, what this seems to mean to me is that proximity type characteristic for it is going to be pretty powerful. If the damage isn't that much, that proximity effect would have to be what makes this item worthy of being picked up and also being, you know, epic and legendary, or else it wouldn't be epic and legendary. The damage is too low to make it that good. The magazine size is pretty low. Also, the fire rate seems pretty low. So I'm assuming it has to be something like that, especially if it's to compare against like the boom bow, which is really, really good right now. So definitely pretty interesting. On top of that, the reload time is about 3 seconds for each variant. I mean, it gets into specifics, but it goes from like basically 3 seconds for the epic if you want to round up, and then 2.8395 for the legendary. So not a really big difference, but that's a long reload time. 3 seconds is very, very long. So yeah, pretty crazy item overall. But let's go ahead and keep moving on here to the monster type stuff that is happening, the story related stuff. As you guys know, recently the monster broke out of Polar Peak and took like Polar Peak with it. I mean the castle specifically on Polar Peak, but you saw the footprints in the ice or the snow and stuff like that moving towards the ocean. Would you call it an ocean? Maybe it's just a big lake, I don't know. But we knew that it moved over there, and then that was it for a little bit. However, just recently we've been able to see the monster moving around. That is right, guys, we've been able to spot the monster moving around in the ocean outside of the map. So basically, like as you can see here, this is what it looks like. It's pretty simple. There's nothing too much to it besides the fact that it's clearly that monster and that he's clearly carrying Polar Peak on his head or back. Very, very interesting. Like, I'm not sure where the story is going to go from here because, you know, there was a pretty huge buildup of the monster, you know, escaping from the ice with the earthquakes and stuff like that, the eye then showing up. Then he moves into the ocean and things like that, and now he's swimming around with Polar Peak on top of him. It's pretty interesting overall. I think we're gonna have to save like diving really into depth with like what that could mean for the story for another video, so be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. Gonna be coming up fairly soon if I do get around to it. But if you guys have ideas right away, leave them down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, guys, are you excited that the monster has like shown up on the map? Well, technically in the ocean, but yeah, it's pretty cool. After that, then let's talk about some bugs with a bunch of skins that are being looked into. Like, there are a bunch of skin type bugs recently, and I want to go through a bunch of them and the ones that are likely being looked into the most. And first of all, a user on Reddit by the name of Quieto had brought these up, and an Epic employee actually responded to it, Magist, who basically said, "Thanks for letting us know. I'll shoot this over to the art team so that they are aware of these." And that was in reference to a bunch of skin related bugs that he talked about. Like, for example here, the Ice Scepter was one of them, because as you guys know, these straps on the Ice Scepter have been bugged out like since the very beginning. They're supposed to move around, but they've been like completely solid, which doesn't really make any sense. So luckily that's going to be looked into. Also the Scratch Mark, which is a pickaxe I like, but for some reason there's a bug that makes the trail behind it, the swinging trail, always pink, which kind of messes with it a little bit when you're coming up with skin combos. So that appears to be being looked into as well. So I'm excited for that. Also, he said that the magma wrap was flickering a little bit. I haven't really experienced that too much myself. And also that there was a bit of a bug with the Take the Elf emote and the sound with it. But again, I haven't really experienced that one too much either. So a lot of skin bugs, but hopefully we get a bunch of those fixed very soon. Have you guys experienced any of those? Let me know. I'm curious to see. But then let's move on to the final thing I want to talk about in today's video. And that is basically a change to the lighting. In 9.20, you may have noticed that lighting is darker, and apparently this is a bug. I'm not exactly sure what is darker about it, because I was looking at the Trello board for the Fortnite like bug issues that they're looking into, and one of them was specifically lighting in v9.20 is darker than intended. A little bit, I'm not sure, because personally I feel like the lighting in the current update looks really, really good. So again, it confuses me overall. Do you guys think the lighting looks better in 9.20 and that they shouldn't change it back? Or maybe you guys liked the older version? I'm curious to see, so leave a comment down below. But maybe they made multiple changes. I feel like even the skins have looked better, so I don't know if this is in reference to that or if it's something else, but I do hope they keep like the look of the skins and some of the stuff. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more news videos in the near future, and without further ado, let's jump on into it with the outro.
Are you